Are you there, buddy?
Yeah, man. How are you?
I'm doing just great. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
What is this? What do we got going here?
This is the Crucible.
The
It's an
Crucible.
inaugural episode of the Crucible, man. So I'm excited, man. This is going to be a good show. Today
It's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be a great show.
we've got an interesting lineup, right? This is just us trying to figure out how to convey these cool little stories. I've got a handful of them. You got a handful of them. And we're gonna go ahead and start talking about them, man. You got any
That's right.
disclaimers to start us off with?
No, not that I know of. No disclaimers for tonight.
Okay. All right, man. That's nice. All right. I guess I guess I'm gonna get started if it's cool with you. So
You
my
start
name
us
is
off, and I'm gonna follow your lead. What do we got?
all right. My name's Silver Husky. You can call me Emil or Husk or whatever. I got my buddy Pauly or Paul. We both run precious metals channels. I've been doing it for some time. Pauly's kind of blowing it out of the water right now, doing real good with his channel. But we're both aficionados of all things shiny. And if you guys want to check out our bios, go check out cruciblelive.com. It's a nice little website we got set up, and he's got two
Yep,
little bios for us.
and that'll be
All right.
constantly updating as
Oh yeah,
well.
we'll be putting stuff up on there all the time. And make sure you sign up for that newsletter too. We might be doing a giveaway down the road, but we need to tally up the numbers through that little.
Yeah, and I did
Uh,
test that. So if you do go to that, that'll be in the description of this video. I don't know if I got it in there before we started, but that will be in the description of this video for the watchers here. Um, but there should be a pop-up right when you get into that site. It pops up. If you want to stay with us and get the latest news, sign up your email address. And that way, if something ever does happen, at least we have a way to reach you if for some reason YouTube takes a wash and we have to go do something else somewhere else. So definitely think about that. And I'll leave that in the description of both channels for this video.
right on, man. All right, so tell me if you've heard this one already. Have you heard about the guy? He is a peace activist out of South Florida, and he was trying to cross the Atlantic Ocean in this. It was like a man-made, almost looked like a floating hamster wheel thing. Did you see that?
Yes, I saw it briefly. It might have been as I was scrolling through TikTok or something. But what's the gist of it?
So this guy, it's actually his fourth offense, and I think they were estimating that it's cost taxpayers thousands of dollars because the Coast Guard has had to rescue this guy several times. I don't know what he's got
I
this
think they
kick
called it
where
a
he
hamster wheel, right?
so
They
that
called
this
it a
time it was a
man-made
hamster
hamster wheel.
wheel, but there
Yeah.
were other times that so he's like a super marathoner. He likes to run a lot. And
Okay.
he's been trying to do these different things. He's got this new challenge where he wants to run in like 180 different countries, and he also wants to cross the Atlantic. And he said he's not going to stop. He's going to keep doing it until he finally does. He's got his own publicists and everything, and they're like, yeah, he's not going to stop.
Yeah,
He's going to
right.
keep doing it because I think ultimately he wants. I believe his message is, if you put your mind to it, anything can be accomplished, which I get it.
Uh-huh.
But
Right,
also now
right.
he's creating a danger for himself, at least in my thoughts.
And where was that again? That was where?
So this was in South Florida, and I think they
South
caught
Florida. That's
him
right.
off the coast of South Carolina or something. So he had already made some headway. And when the Coast Guard was trying to when they were trying to rescue him, uh,
Yeah.
they they told him, stand down or whatever. He was threatening to stab himself.
Oh Lord.
Yeah,
Oh
and so they
Lord.
they like they didn't board or anything. They didn't do anything, and then eventually he started threatening to blow himself up. Said that he had a bomb. Turned out he didn't. Right,
No,
but
right, right.
it's kind of crazy, man. And
I do remember seeing a picture of that, and I thought, what's going on here? But then you say that he was a type of marathoner. See, I didn't dig that far into it. No, I just
I
remember
mean,
seeing it. That's exactly what it was—a giant hamster-looking wheel with a bunch of barrels on the outside
yeah.
of it, all the way around it.
So have you ever flown across the Atlantic?
No, only within the United States have I flown.
It's a long flight, man. That is a long flight to get across the Atlantic. So you think about,
I don't want no part of it, I don't think.
do you run at all? You ever go jogging or anything like that?
I used to. I mean, I
Uh-huh.
used to, but just a quick sprint every now and again.
Right. And I think my longest run ever was under maybe at 10 miles at most, right? And
No, yeah,
that's
maybe 3.5 for me. Maybe topped out at 4. I was training for like a 5K or something like that. And
okay. All right.
yeah, it's not really. I used to, not much
So you got to
anymore.
figure across the Atlantic. I mean, how do you do that? Like, how do you have enough water? How do you have enough food? I know you're like in the Atlantic, but you can't drink that.
No, no,
How
no.
do you have
Yeah,
enough
you're not
food to
drinking that.
last
You got to
you?
have your supplies, but then you're doing this motion, so he's got to
Yeah.
have it secured some way. You're talking, yeah. That's a long trip.
It'd be at least a couple weeks. I don't know. Like, maybe it's even more. Maybe it's a month to get across. I don't know.
How do you track how do you track the weather for something like that? I mean,
Well, and that's the thing is they caught him. They were like stressing to catch him because I guess Hurricane Lee was coming up, and they were like, "Dude, you need to
yeah,
get out of the water." I mean, yeah, you kill yourself, but hey, I guess that's his prerogative, right? He's going to prove
yeah,
a point one way or another.
that's nuts. That is nuts. I just want to say this before we get too far along. We are live on YouTube, right? We do plan on putting these up on different platforms. So anybody in the chat, I just want you to know that we are glancing at it, but we're trying to keep this as a conversation podcast style chat for you all to enjoy, right? But if you're in the chat and you're listening and you do see some crazy stuff coming up in either my channel or Husky's channel and you are a moderator there, please help us out and just get rid of it. If you guys want to have a conversation amongst yourselves, that's completely fine. Keep it fist fight friendly, I guess, but don't allow anything that you wouldn't want on your own channel if you have one or if you were going to have one. So if you do that, we would both appreciate that very much so.
Very
Like a man
much.
like Ted
Thank you.
Jones. What's up, Ted? No, that's a pretty good one, man. Like I said, I do recall seeing that briefly, but like I said, the tick tock mentality. It was just what the hell is this? And then kept sliding through.
Good stuff. Hey,
But
you stack metals, right?
I do. So do you.
You stack pretty regular. Yeah, yeah. You were
I,
mentioning
I mean, just
something.
like most people, maybe not most. I do. I'm more of a like I like some fine silver pieces, right? And I
Sure.
do have my fair share of quote unquote stackable silver. So I've kind of eased back, even though I did just purchase some just the other day. But I find myself stacking more gold than anything and collectible silver, which I don't have. I just moved the studio downstairs, so it's
It's
just getting set
beautiful,
up, but I
man.
don't have anything out in front of me. I've got some Empire precious metal stuff out here on some coin stands, but that's it. So I don't have anything right now, but collector of silver, but yeah, stacker mostly of gold now is my fixation, you know.
I'm a sucker for gold, man. We picked up a bit recently. But tell me,
Yeah, I
you
saw
were
your.
telling me about something recently that somebody's been putting out or somebody's getting ready to put out something pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, dude. I told you about it, and maybe
Yeah.
those listening know about it. But if you don't, Scottsdale's Mint is changing their or coming up with a new kilo, and they're looking for our help for them to pick the best design, right? So if you don't mind, I'm going to actually share this
Do it.
screen and let's take a look at what they got going on. Let's see. Share this. Okay, there it is. I'm gonna blow it up so it's bigger, but we can still be seen, right?
Ah,
Let
nice.
me
Okay, so
let me go.
these are the bars right here, cast bars.
No, no, no. I'm gonna
Oh,
go right here, and I'm going to have to do this one more time. Give me 1 second here. Like I said on the Instagram, this will be a debugging show, right?
Oh yeah,
So now
pilot
I
shows
have
are always fun for that.
Yeah, right. All right. So there's that, but we got to make it so everybody can see it right here. So pick your favorite new silver kilo bar from Scottsdale Mint, and today is the 14th of September. This actually was emailed on September the 12th of 2023. So at first glance, you see them, right?
Mhm.
And
Oh,
number
okay, I see the
one,
difference.
yeah. So number one is your regular silver kilo bar, and this is all etching. This isn't like a sticker laid on there, right?
Is this a laser etching?
That's what we're told here. Above you can see the different video. All right, so let's just see if we can. That's probably going to pop up another screen, but yeah. So you see the first one, and it's got the white for the lion, and then your classic silver background of the bar.
Yep.
And then this has a little bit more white
It's
looking
inversed.
etching to it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
inversed.
right.
Okay.
And it's actually got a little different color up here in the crown as well. And the number 3 is actually antiqued, which is pretty decent. So
they want
if I
you to
can get
vote,
this,
right? Like to
yeah.
pick which one you like the most. I
Okay,
bet you
so
they
here's
make
a
all
little
3
video
anyway.
from them. Huh?
I said I bet you they make all 3 anyways.
Sure, right? And they'll make them in however many they want to make. You know how,
Number
look at
2
that.
looks cool. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. I like that one.
And I am a sucker for some antique stuff, man, and that
Yeah.
looks nice in its own too.
All
And
right,
they've
so
also recently released some new half-ounce silver BU buttons and antique finish buttons, which I haven't seen anybody hanging on to just yet. But if you know Scottsdale, especially ordering directly from Scottsdale, it can take a little while to get their stuff to you, you know. But they also have that eBay store, which is Scottsdale. And if it's on eBay, it's there ready to ship. Now you
right.
get onto their actual website, Scottsdale, what is it, scottsdalemint.com or scottsdale.com. You know, you could be waiting weeks for some of that stuff.
Yep. Now I've got a story on that. Not to go off on too much of a tangent, but when I first made I would say it was probably my second big purchase of silver. It was 3 100-ounce Scottsdale bars, the stacker bars.
Yeah.
I had placed the order. I think silver was at 17-19 an ounce, something like that.
Oh,
And yeah, it was really good. But it took almost 4 months to get to me. But by the
yeah,
time it got to me, silver was up to like 24 an ounce. And I was like, oh, heck yeah. Like I was mad that I didn't have my silver. But when it came, I wasn't
for
so
sure.
mad anymore.
For sure. So if,
But
if anybody wanted to, they could go to Scottsdale Mint and help them choose
place a
what you would
vote.
like. So it's pick your favorite. And since it's my screen, I'm going with this antique finish is mine, and I'm just going to send it over to them right now. Thank
So
you for your
why
vote.
the antique? I got to ask you, why the antique?
Why the antique? Okay, so let me stop this share, and then I can bring myself back up. So remove this. Stop share. Okay, so why the antique? When you hold silver like that, number one, most generally that antique, it's not going to start getting that toning kind of look to it, right? And you can hang on to that, and you ain't got to worry about leaving a bunch of fingerprints, anything like that. Now, I would worry about dropping it and leaving some scuffs, but there's nothing worse than just seeing a bunch of smudges. And antiqued usually is pretty decent for hiding all that stuff. Kind of like the Royal Canadian Mint does with their mint shield. It just hides the milk spots. It's essentially there. It's just that shield is hiding it away. You can't see it, which they've done a great job with those coins since they introduced that.
And I
But
gotta say,
that and antique just, I know that's just a cast bar, or not cast bar, but a pour bar. It's just got that look about it. Even when you get into a coin, just so much more detail you can see when you have the same coin as a BU versus the antique. Just all the detail pops right out of it at that point.
Yeah, I'm with you on that though. I'm glad you
Yeah.
mentioned that about the antique not picking up smudges and things like that, because you're right. That's the biggest risk with any of those really pretty bars with nice design on it, is one fingerprint or whatever, it starts to milk spot. It's not going to milk spot if it's got antiquing on it.
And this stuff isn't in a capsule. I couldn't tell you if it's going to come wrapped,
Right.
and like Germania Mint does with all their stuff. It comes in a wrap, and it comes with a serial number and their holographic stuff, all that good stuff. But capsules and all that stuff is great, but holding that stuff in your hand without a wrap on it in a capsule, I mean, that's what it's all about for me. And that's why it's nice to hold stuff like that, like kilo bars. You got it, it's yours,
Mm-hmm. Those 100-ounce bars did come with a cellophane on them, so they did come wrapped.
Okay.
I imagine they'll probably do something similar.
I've seen a lot of people, even with the 10-ounce stackers, which is just a smaller version of 100-ounce, they'll take them and they put them in what is that vacuum? They'll vacuum seal a bag, and then just they look nice, and they'll kind of cut around it, and they still stack, but and that's because it's silver tarnishes, silver tones. It's what it does. It's what the air does to it. It's all natural.
On the topic of antiquing, really cool pieces, I have to show off this one that came in today. This is from my buddy Sean.
See, you're set up. I just moved down here. Holy smokes!
Look at that. That is a steering wheel, man. That's huge,
dude. And that's a stacker too, isn't it? Like if you had another one and took them apart, it would. Yeah.
How'd you know? Yeah, so this one's from Comsco Mint.
That's where it's from. I was trying. It was on the tip of my tongue. I couldn't think of where it was from.
And they're serialized and everything. I'll throw some photos of these on the website on cruciblelive.com for listeners to be able to check out later. But yeah, it's impressive. It's a nice piece. That's going to go on the mantle for sure.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
What's up, man? You got any good stories for me?
Well, let me wet my palate.
Yeah, man.
Did you know that New York City, you ever been there?
This into the city once. Yeah.
You've been in New York City once? Would you ever go back?
It smelled like horse manure. We were by Central Park. It was very loud. Saw some kids running around with knives and stuff. It's not for the faint of heart. But for somebody who lives there, I mean, they're probably like, "Oh, that's just a Tuesday." But no, it's
that's kind of what I was just thinking. But what if you were to be able to take like a behind the scenes tour, like the inner stuff, like the inner findings of New York City, and what this guy is doing, he's kind of offering that.
That's cool.
Tourists, and it's a big topic. You go out at night, dude, and take the authentic experience of a late night rat tour. This guy is making money.
A what?
A rat tour. You ever see like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they got that Splinter?
Yeah.
He's the rat king, right,
Splinter,
dude?
Yeah.
So you're going out looking for Splinter. So
you're looking for rats.
You're looking for rats. You're getting the rat experience. Tourists are flocking to the Big Apple, it's telling me, because of their exploding rat population. And like here in Michigan, like we got field mice, and we got some ground squirrels and stuff, but we don't tend to carry rats. We got woodchucks, and we got skunks. We don't have rats. So this guy, Luke Miller, owner of Real New York Tours, is stopping Columbus Park, Chinatown for tourists, paying him to go look for rats at night with flashlights and
But what do
sprays
you
and
do when
such.
you see one? Like you feed it, or just take a picture of it?
You
I
just
don't know.
you just take a picture of it, I guess. I mean, they're putting up they're putting up rat crossing signs. This
So
is this is an actual thing.
I'm gonna guess, and this is just me throwing that out there. I'm gonna guess this guy's probably making a killing. As weird as it sounds, my thoughts are something as crazy as that. Tourists probably do want to see that weird stuff. Like you figure somebody coming from I don't know, other side of the planet, and they're coming to New York City and they want that authentic experience. Strangely enough, I guess New York's associated with rats, and that's the experience. That's crazy, man.
In 2022, there were over 60,000 reports of rat activity citywide, a shocking 102% increase from 2021, says the health department. So far this year, there have been over 39,000 reports of rat activity.
Crazy. But like, okay,
I'm
so
trying to see.
I don't even know where to go with this.
Okay. I'm trying to see if there's a spot to book it, or if oh
Dude, book it,
God.
man. Go. You should go.
I gotta here.
You're
Hold on.
closer than me. You
I
should
gotta
go. Let me know how it
I
is.
gotta share this. I gotta share this to you.
So I got a funny story. Those
Go
of you
ahead.
who
This is
while you pull
popped
that
up.
up, those of you who know me know that I raise chickens, and every now and then there's like a little field mouse, probably about the size of these little guys. I don't know how big those are. Those actually look pretty big, but like little field mice that I catch in the feed room, and if I toss them out to the chickens, they'll actually chase them around and eat them. But I don't think they can
Really?
get one of these rats down. These rats look a little too big. My chickens aren't big enough to get them yet.
Jeez, this guy's
All right. So
legit,
here,
huh?
yeah. So here he is. Here he is in the middle, and then this is
Okay.
this is the crew out looking. Where I'm trying to find is if there's a spot. Regular on TikTok. Let's see. Rodents spread over 30 different diseases. So I don't
That's a
know.
lot of rats.
It doesn't say how much it costs, or if there's an actual site you can click on. I guess I'll look more into it on TikTok, and maybe he's got a website.
Yeah, maybe he's got a
an
link.
actual-
Yeah.
You have to
And so
report
this
back
is coming
next
from the
week.
New York Post.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something we're definitely going to keep an eye on, is the rat population. And
What is that she's
And
holding?
the,
Is she holding a hairball? What is that?
yeah, that's just an ad. That's just an
Oh,
ad. We're getting
okay,
out of
yeah.
there. So that's something we'll definitely dive back into and keep an eye
Okay.
on, is the rat population. That's crazy, man. That's one of those ones that you just don't ever hear about, except maybe on the TikTok. And now
Yep.
you heard
Yeah,
it
you
here
find
first.
some interesting stuff on there. All right, I got one for you.
Dude.
Have you heard about
Yeah.
the September 23rd doomsday coincidence? And
No,
it's probably plus or minus 1 day, so September 22nd to September 24th. There's a plethora.
Today's the 14th.
I know we're close, man. So there's a plethora of TV shows, movies, whatever. There's like incidences where that date is brought up. I'll give you a couple of examples. Big Bang Theory, they talk about a meteor striking or something like that. Third Rock from the Sun, same thing, cataclysmic meteor strike. Evan Almighty, I think theirs was the 22nd, September 22nd is when the Great Flood comes. There's actually a movie about the end of the world called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World. And in that one, it's a pretty interesting movie. Same thing, meteor strike. Volcano, September 23rd. The Simpsons had a doomsday episode. It was episode 9, season 23. Yeah, and you can't go against
No.
the Simpsons, man.
They had the Donald coming down the stairs and waving to people. Come on.
Have they ever predicted anything that hasn't come true? Right. So there was that
Matt
the
Groening,
movie.
man, I'm telling you, he's a time traveler, and that's what it is.
I
That's
know.
what it is.
It's nuts, man. Deep Impact, the movie Knowing, the movie 23, all of those have to do with either the number 23 or September 23rd. Anyways, something like this is probably brought up annually, so I wouldn't think that it's anything different this year, but it's just an interesting coincidence in all these movies that they all bring up either September 22nd, 23rd, or 24th. It's those 3 dates that always pop up. Very interesting. But
yeah, that's not the type of stuff that I like to think about.
yeah. Hey, you got your gold and silver, man. That's all that matters.
Yeah, it ain't gonna matter come the 23rd.
Yeah, you can send it to me.
Damn next species will get it. The next species will get it.
The next species. The next species. Yeah, I got a story on that too. We'll come back to that one. You got a good one for me?
Well, have you heard about these cyber attacks in Las Vegas?
No. What's
More
that?
specifically on the MGM.
Oh, not MGM, man. That's like the only one I like.
Well, apparently this has been going on since Sunday. So actually, this might be just a touch of what's today, Thursday. So the article came out today, September 14th. So they're receiving some 5 days after cyber attack crippled the operations of the MGM resorts, including its signature Las Vegas properties, the Bellagio and the MGM Grand.
Oh no!
They're still working to resolve the issues, and it was shutting down, or they were unable to use slot machines, ATM machines, elevators, their room keys for their doors to get into their rooms. Can you imagine being there and have that? Have you ever been to Las Vegas and been into one of those casinos?
I got married in Las Vegas, actually. Yeah.
There you go. There's so many people there. There are so many people there, and it's the city that never sleeps, right? I mean, they have no clocks. They pump oxygen in these things for one reason, and they have no clocks for that same reason, to keep you gambling.
Oh yeah.
If you're sitting there gambling and that slot machine stops working, and all of a sudden you got a lot of pissed off old ladies, man. And I guess reading more into it, I'd like to know if they were playing said machine, and are they getting their payout slips back? I mean, you're talking
that's a lot of money.
Thousands of slot machines just done.
Yeah.
Kaputzi. And how many people they got there handling that stuff?
So did I'm guessing it's like specifically people who are doing this hack, like a group or something. Have they identified who it is or what they want from MGM?
As of no, they're saying thank you for your continued patience. We couldn't have done it without the 1,000 employees to help resolve issues, but they're addressing everybody individually as they come forward of any issue that they're having, and that's 5 days into it.
Yeah,
that's 2 different casinos.
That's a big risk with technology. I mean, the age that we live in, where everything's connected, and you just have somebody who can exploit a weak link or some kind of a backdoor channel and blow up a whole system. I mean, MGM is probably going to be crippled from this.
The FBI is investigating it. Infrastructure security agencies. The governor put out a statement saying they're monitoring their cyber accidents with the MGM resorts and their communication executives. So it's still kind of up in the air of what's actually causing it, and who's to say they'll ever find out. But the scary part is that it happened. Yeah. I think you and I had a conversation about that. And actually you might've been talking about your safe, about having, no, is in one, what did you, I think you did a video on it or something.
I talked about it in a live stream.
Okay. Yeah. No, it was your sale auction or something like
Mhm.
that. But talking about the analog versus the dial.
Digital. Yep.
So what did you call that? Well, what was the name of what would have to happen for that stuff just to quit working? What is that called?
Oh, like an EMP, some kind of a pulse that would
Yeah, some
short
type of
out
pulse.
electrical circuits. Yep.
Right. And I think you said everything inside should be okay if there's
Yeah, it creates a
nothing
Faraday
electrical.
cage.
Yeah. And but how are you going to get in that safe now? Right.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why you need an analog, and that's when you even look at vehicles. Like an older vehicle doesn't have those fancy computers in them, and it's
Right.
better that way, honestly, because those computers, one little thing goes wrong, and it'll shut off a whole section of your car.
Yeah.
I know that firsthand. It's crazy, man.
Not the new
But
pickup already.
no, definitely not the pickup. Toyotas are great, man. Love Toyota. But anyways, no, that's crazy, man. And it sucks for MGM. My guess is that it's probably some 14-year-old in I don't know, in Belarus or somebody or somewhere who's just messing around on his computer and decided to attack a casino. That's nuts, though, man. I would hate to be MGM right now, and I'd hate to have to fix all of that mess that is created.
The same. Okay, so they're further down now. The Bloomberg News is reporting as of Wednesday that the same ransomware group is responsible for a cyber attack this month on Caesars Entertainment Incorporated.
Oh,
And the company paid millions to get their data back. Now that's another
well,
one
that's
to
a
go
drop
back
in
and
the
look
bucket,
into.
though.
Sure, but not a bucket that I want to unload.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of a bucket, but they've got huge buckets, man. They can spill $1 million
Well,
and not really worry
Caesars
much about
Entertainment,
it.
which it's running 50 different resorts.
Uh-huh. And they're
And
not
that
just in
attack
Vegas, man. They're in
occurred.
Atlantic City. They're all over the place.
That attack
Like,
occurred September 7th. So yeah, it's something they're gonna wanna. We'll definitely keep an eye on this story, especially this other one about Caesars. I mean, that happened September 7th. And they paid a ransom. That's crazy.
big.
Who are they? Like,
Some
how are you
offshore
paying that
account, man.
ransom and it's not being able to be tracked of where it's going?
Bitcoin.
Right? No Bitcoin. Yeah, I paid it all in
That's
Bitcoin.
probably
Right?
it, man. That's all it takes. That's that crypto. You can do that under the table payment, and they can't.
Yeah, but
trace
this
it.
is definitely a cool one to keep an eye on for sure.
For sure.
The show. All right. I got one for you.
So, did you hear? This is kind of like let's call it a twofer. All right. So, did you hear about the Mexican congressional hearing that they had, where they brought out these two corpses? They were small. They were probably, I don't know, maybe like I don't know, 2.5 feet tall, something like that. And they were
Little
mummified. They were
Mummified.
little something. They were little something. They weren't human in origin. And this was a congressional hearing, and they had people who definitely had the credentials to talk on the subject, and they were under oath while speaking about it, saying that they ran, genetic analysis on it, and they were not of human nature, and they couldn't even identify a closely related species in the genome sequence that we have on records. But these little creatures, they were found in Peru in a diatomaceous earth mine. So diatomaceous earth, it's this really old prehistoric little, I don't know, it's almost like a microbe. It's a thing that when they died, they just basically left like dust. And so back in the day, that's kind of all that there was in the oceans. So you'd have these fields with this dust, and it ended up, getting buried by dirt and stuff. So this became a mine. Anyways, while they were digging out this diatomaceous earth, which is used in food, it's used in the livestock industry or whatever, in healthcare. While they were digging it up, they found these bodies, and they were perfectly preserved because diatomaceous earth acts as a desiccant, And so it perfectly dried out these specimens. An interesting thing that they found in these specimens, they did like all kinds of like CT scans and everything. There was actually metallic plates that had like cadmium and whatever, and it was inside the bodies. So they had like some kind of prosthetics or whatever, some kind of hardware installed in them.
Weird.
Additionally, one of the specimens had 3 eggs inside of its body that were in different stages of development. So they weren't mammals. They were something else. But you have to check it out.
You're talking shells, like your chickens. You're talking chicken eggs.
No, I'm talking like these were like oblong, like a reptile's eggs. Yeah, they were like inside the abdomen, growing, developing. Weird. Yeah, very weird. So that's
when was this?
Again. I believe the hearing was a couple weeks ago, maybe. Maybe it was a few days ago. I'm not sure. But from that, and so as a tangent to that, these are the same. These bodies are not new, right? They just happen to be now in the possession of the Mexican government. But they are from Peru, and in the past, I don't know how many years ago, there were other people who claimed that they did an analysis on it and it was bogus. Like all those bodies were whatever, they weren't legit. But this guy's saying that in fact they are. So I don't know, there's conflicting.
No, this isn't the same hearing that the US is having. This is a different.
So
this is something different.
We can go on a tangent on that too. So the US congressional hearing, which happened like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, and I actually listened to 2 guys on a Joe Rogan podcast that these things, man, you just don't know what to believe and what not to believe, because I mean, there's talk for sure. There's talk, and you go all the way back to the 30s, 40s with US written information from pilots from seeing different things here and there. And now,
well, where's the evidence? That's the issue.
That's just it. And you have these whistleblowers, and I don't know names offhand because I didn't know we were going to get into this, but you got these whistleblowers wanting to come forward, and then all you get out of the hearings are, I can talk to you about this, but you need the right clearance, and we need to be in a static free room or whatever they call them. Yeah. And that's just where it's left at. Yep. You know, it's nuts. And there are a lot of images, and in that podcast, these 2 guys that he was talking with have been doing work like this for 30 plus years.
And you said that was on Joe Rogan's show?
You know, they're trying to. Yeah. So it would have been a few days ago, and I don't even remember their names, but if someone was to look into Joe Rogan's podcast, it would be like one of the top 3 or 4 from his most recent. But that's the kind of stuff I listen to on my way to work. And that's, I think what we're trying to do with a show like this is something that somebody can sit back and listen to, whether they're driving or they're cooking at the grill or what have you. But that is when and some of his shows are 2.5, 3 hours. Some of them are an hour and a half, but it's good cruising to work type stuff. Now, I'm not going to lie. You know, you get to the end of that one, and I couldn't finish it. You know, they start talking some weird stuff, and that's where I call it quits, because I just need to get to work and stay focused on that type of stuff. I can't be thinking about flying saucers and things dropping from 60,000 feet to sea level in seconds.
Flash of a second. Yeah, exactly.
They don't know where it come from, how it was propelled.
The part 2 to that story is today at 10 o'clock, NASA actually had a press release. And in this press release, they did ask them about the whole Mexico incident or the Mexico congressional hearing. And NASA said, well, if this is legit as they're claiming it to be, then they should release those specimens to the world's scientists to allow them to do further analysis as well. So we'll see what comes of that. But from the NASA announcement, what they were basically saying is that they've put together an independent team, right, of people who are going to be in charge of what they're calling UAPs. That's the new name for UFOs that they're using. But yeah, this UAP
almost like a task force to where they're doing their own independent review of, all of these incidents. And what they were saying is that out of pretty much everything that's come across their desk, most of it could be explained away as weather balloons, drones, airplanes, test aircraft, things like that. But there are a handful that they could not identify. And what they did say
that they couldn't identify.
Well, that they couldn't identify it, but what they did say is that they do not believe that they are extraterrestrial. They believe that they are something else, clearly unidentified, but that they're not extraterrestrial. But what the I believe he was the I don't know what he would be called, the chairman of NASA or whatever. He said it is his deep belief that there is certainly life out there. He said you look at it like from the scientific statistics, how many solar systems there are out there and how many galaxies in our universe. He said there's about probably about 1 trillion planets that could host life. Clearly, you got to think about the distance. Like these are up to billions of light years away. They could never reach us in any kind of a reasonable time frame. They could be way behind us, or could they? Could they fold space? I don't know.
Could they?
But they could be still in their protoplasm phase where you're just talking about little microbes, or they could be way beyond us where they're, I don't know, harvesting energy from their suns or from other people's suns, whatever. Now we're talking movies, but
well, so as you're talking, I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, we have what we know, or what we're told that we know, and it goes back millions and millions of years. I mean, dinosaurs and cavemen and all this other stuff. Dude, I say it to myself and I say it to a lot of people I work with. I'm just living for today. If they're here, great. We were talking, this is just going to get off the topic, but we were talking about mermaids, right? At work. I'm like, dude, they're talking about aliens. Okay. But what about mermaids? Like, what if, you don't know, you don't ever see them. Why don't you see them? Well, because when they come up on land, they're just like you and I. What if it was like the Amish when they have their Rumspringa and a mermaid gets to come up and decide whether she wants to be a regular human girl or go back to the sea life. Just
you watched that cartoon, dude, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No. But that's I try my best just to live one day at a time. Tomorrow's gone. I mean, tomorrow isn't promised. Today's damn near gone. And I can't dig into that stuff. I'll listen, but it's just, I don't need that stress. Like I said, if they're here, stop by. I don't drink, but I got a beer in the fridge.
Crack a beer. Yeah.
Right.
Good stuff, man. Yeah. No, I mean, so NASA was just saying, that they've got this task. What they're trying to do is take it from like sensationalism, this crazy, the truth is out there. There's aliens everywhere. Government's keeping conspiracies. So they're trying to take it from that to tangible data that they can definitively say what's happening. And that's what they're trying to do, is just demystify everything. And they did
kind of what these guys talk about, and they kind of talk about that in that podcast, is if they have this stuff and they've had it for years and years and years, they've been trying to reverse engineer what they have, and they can't do it.
Yeah,
they just can't do it. We don't have the technology to reverse engineer something we don't even know what the hell it is.
So he was asked a question about the classification, like this information is classified or declassified. And they were asking him in the press conference portion, why is that? And his explanation actually made some sense. What he said is NASA actually doesn't really classify almost anything. And the reason being is that I guess one of their pillars is to have that information freely available to everybody. They are one department of the government that does not really classify much at all. They said the other departments, especially DOD, reason for their classification of things, or having everything top secret and stuff like that, is often more having to do with the equipment that captures those videos, right? So
Yes.
the camera, the sensitive camera equipment is some top secret stuff. So just releasing that kind of footage,
it's a matter of national security, right?
Correct. So that's why he said that's more why they have more stuff classified. And of course, whatever, like you just said, if they have a recovered craft and they're trying to reverse engineer, you don't want that stuff in the wrong hands. So yeah, that makes sense too.
Exactly. And they're trying to, so they say, to get the information before anybody else can. If you're not first, you're last. You're trying to do it. You're trying to beat the Chinese to it, or whoever, Russia, whoever. But until there's some data for you and I to look at that is legit, I mean, this is just where we're at. It's just a conversation, and we don't know.
All right, you got something off the alien topic?
I do, but it's more of a conspiracy, which
bring it.
This story. Okay. I know November 22nd, 1963.
That was my birthday. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
November 22nd, 1963.
In history.
Okay.
It's a pretty big date in history. Kennedy was killed.
Date. Ah, yes.
Kennedy was killed. So, have you heard of the name Paul Landis?
No.
And you probably wouldn't know,
Educate me.
Because I really didn't. Okay, so who Paul Landis is, his job that day was protection of Jackie Kennedy.
Okay.
He was 22 years old at the time. 22 years old at the time. He kept a secret with him for however many years. He decided to write a book in March of 2014, which the book isn't. This is just when he started thinking about it. This man is the person responsible. So he claims anything that's official is in the warrant, the warrant official document. He found a bullet that he placed on the gurney while they're working on Kennedy. He placed that bullet on that gurney. He found a pristine bullet with just rifling marks on it. No blood, no bone fragments, no nothing. The story is here. He gets into a detailed, kind of a gory kind of story, how he was covered in blood and bone fractures and all this stuff. But dude, it says 66 years after the assassination of President Kennedy, former Secret Service agent is offering a startling revelation about that day, claiming that he tampered with evidence and put one of the bullets believed that had killed the president in his pocket before placing it on the hospital gurney. That bullet they found on that gurney is the bullet that they believed that killed Kennedy, and which the American people, me and you, not us, we weren't around, but this is what they were told to believe. That this pristine shaped bullet found in that car is the bullet that killed him. Now, you and I are both gun owners. We like to target shoot. I'm an avid hunter. And I know what happens to a bullet, even when it travels through the air and impacts something, right?
It flattens.
It flattens. There's some deformation to it, especially if this bullet went into Kennedy's body.
Right.
There's going to be something on it. And he claims here, now 88 years old, his security detail was of that, what I mentioned, to watch over Jackie Kennedy. November 22nd, 1963, he was traveling with the motorcade, and then president was struck by two bullets, one in the head and one in the neck, while riding down the parade through downtown Dallas. Now, I'm going to bring this up too. I used to travel the country for work, and one of my stops was at Dealey Plaza, and they had it marked at that time. I'm sure they still do, the X on the road where the fatal shot was, put on him. I don't know. Have you ever been there?
I have not. No.
No. And he goes on, he didn't even think about it for 45 years until that point in March of 2014. He started thinking maybe it's time that he told his side of the story. Why? It's how could you hold something like that for so long? Is he now still going to be charged with something for tampering with evidence? Because this information is coming out in a book.
So
it's a firsthand experience style book. And actually, you know what? I'm going to share this because there's no troubling pictures, but there's some pictures of the president in the motorcade. So I'm going to just pop this up to share if you want to touch on something quick.
So yeah, my question is, what would the implications of that be? Like what could come from that? Like finding out he found the bullet, he stuck it in his pocket, and then he put it on the gurney. Okay, so the risk is in that bullet was not the actual bullet, right? But does he say that he found it, or does he say that it just happened to be in his pocket, so he threw it on the gurney?
No. So I'm gonna cruise to the part where he talks about it. This is what I spoke about. The blood and the bone fragments were everywhere, including a pool on the seat next to the First Lady. Landis says he also noticed 2 bullet fragments and a puddle of blood, picking them up and placing them back in the seat as the chaos unfolded. Meanwhile, they're talking about another agent here, how he used his coat to cover up Kennedy as they were taking him into the hospital on the gurney. And then Landis says he noticed a fully intact bullet sitting on the back seat ledge where the cushion meets the metal on the car. I picked that up, he says. I looked at it and I started to put it back. I didn't see anybody in the vicinity, and he was wondering where all the agents were. And then they all seemed to be looking over for the president and help remove the president. So he just decided to put the bullet in his pocket. It was a quick decision. What he said is he didn't want that bullet to disappear.
Okay.
And this goes into him kind of wondering now he's with the president, he's on the side of the gurney, and he's trying to figure out what to do with this bullet that he's got in his pocket.
So I think my initial thought is, as a federal agent, I mean, it makes sense that he's going to do something like that to preserve the evidence, right? But in a debrief after that event, he should have come clean about everything that unfolded. Even if it wasn't right away. Yes. Yeah, even if it wasn't right away, because I know, like, in the fog of battle, you start to forget things, and it'll come back to you later.
But this is where it gets weird. This is where it gets weird. He says he just figured he says, well, I'm going to be questioned by the Warren Commission, and he'll just tell the story then. Well, guess what? They never questioned him. The Warren Commission never questioned this guy in any interview for this case.
I don't know.
It wasn't until 2014 when Landis read a book, 6 Seconds in Dallas, that he saw mentioned of a bullet being found on a gurney. Though in the book it described as being found on the gurney, Texas Governor Conley, who was seriously wounded but survived the shooting. So they're saying that bullet was from the Texas governor who was wounded but survived. That's what they said in that book.
I don't know, man. I almost feel like as a federal agent, he should have felt compelled to give a report, not wait to be questioned. I mean, it's a pretty significant event. Your president just got assassinated, and you were on his watch detail, or watching his wife, or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like that was part of your assigned duty, even if you're not being questioned. Which there is a question there. Why wasn't he questioned? Why was that not part of the investigation? But even still, he should have wanted to divulge that information. He should have felt compelled to, as an agent.
So that's when he decided to come forward. He saw a picture of the bullet in the book that was the supposed bullet that wounded Conley. And he said, that's not the bullet. That's the bullet he found in the car. They took the bullet that they found on the gurney, didn't even mention it, and said that at some point they took a picture of that bullet and didn't tie that bullet to Kennedy whatsoever.
Wow.
And I don't believe that they do have a picture of that bullet. But this is a story, and if it was, when you're talking conspiracy theories, right?
Sure.
This is one that there is more information than what we're being told, and it could be for the safety of the people, but how many tests have been ran that military snipers cannot perform what Lee Harvey Oswald was said to perform? Now, don't get me wrong, everybody can have a good day, but you're talking about killing another human being, and that human being being the president. And then this guy just nonchalantly just cruises into a movie theater. You know?
Yeah.
It's just one of those stories that's embedded in US history, and it's just never has a final answer unless you think, okay, this guy did it. And then Jack Ruby offed him so that he didn't actually do what? Talk about what? Killing the president? I think they were worried about him talking about something else.
That's interesting.
And
I mean, there's so many layers to that.
If anybody listening has actually been there, you get that eerie feeling, you get that feeling of you can stand where they believe another shooter was, and you can stand there and say, man, this is actually a really good spot to be if you were looking to do something like that.
What is it? Is it still a grassy knoll?
Yeah, so it's like a fenced area, right? It's like now, and it could have been then as well. It's like it's a parking lot, right? And you come around, it's a big parking lot, and then you come around to the fence, and they actually show like there's still a grate there that could have been lifted up, and somebody could have got in and got out of there.
Okay. Huh. That's wild, man.
It's just one of them. It's fascinating, That's one thing that and many people can't figure out or even fathom, I guess, of what actually happened.
All right, I've got one last one for you, and this one's going to be an interesting one. So I want you to decide, if you feel this is a true story or if I'm embellishing it or making it up completely.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
I dig it.
All right. Okay.
Hydrate.
Do you know what a welfare check is? And I'm not saying the typical.
I just cast one at the beginning of the month.
Not that one. Not that kind of welfare check. I'm talking about your next door neighbor. You haven't seen them in like 3 months, and you notice a funky smell coming from their house. So that kind of welfare check where you call the police and they go to check on the welfare of this person.
Wellness check. Sure.
So the Utah authorities were making a welfare check on a 75-year-old woman, and they found her dead of natural causes, right? And they found her husband's body in the freezer.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Okay. So they're estimating that the husband died 11 years prior. What do you make of that?
Okay. So the neighbors smell something funny out having a barbecue. What's that stench, right? This is just the scenario I'm running in my head.
Or you see flies in the window.
They make the call.
Uh-huh.
Does it? So for a body to start decaying like that's going to take a little while. But you're in Utah. I don't know the time, so depending on the weather and whatnot, however long. So Yeah, that's just weird. So they
Okay.
determined the husband was 11 years. So she apparently offed her husband, and she died
Oh,
of natural causes.
let me toss another layer into there. The husband had written a letter saying that his wife did not kill him.
What?
And it was a notarized letter from December of 2008.
Okay, so that's, I don't know, man. I don't think that's real at all. I don't think so.
So it's pretty outlandish, man. It's way out there.
I mean,
but
I don't know. Maybe it could happen.
so here's the rest of it. All right. So it's believed that
And
he
the
had a
rest of the
terminal,
story.
right? He had a terminal illness. And because he had a terminal illness and they were both elderly, right? He actually continued to receive VA benefit checks, right?
Oh,
Yep, for that 11 years, which totaled up to about $180,000 to the wife. And because she's dead now, it's kind of
now it's all
nothing.
coming out. So
It's a moot.
they
It's a
made a
moot point.
pact. They made a
Yep.
pact. If he was to die at home,
Mm-hmm.
just don't tell nobody. Keep the money coming in. You deserve it.
Yep.
Do they
I
have?
want you to have
They
this
have any
money.
children? So this is legit.
Uh,
This is a legit story.
This is a legit story. I haven't seen anything about any children or anything that like that. The closest it says is that there were stunned neighbors in this retirement community. So it was a retirement community, right? That
Okay.
they all described her as a very nice person who wouldn't hurt a fly.
Ooh, I wonder if I wonder. You think the neighbors would have noticed the old man was never around?
I mean, somebody. So again, there's one little blurb at the end of this whole article saying that the neighbors believed that the husband ran out on her.
Oh yeah, he ran out. He ran out to the freezer.
He ran out to the freezer and never came back.
Oh my Lord. That's a good one. That's
it's clever. It's clever.
It is.
I get VA benefits, and just saying, we have a deep freezer.
Don't incriminate yourself here yet.
I've got a long ways to go.
Oh man,
that's crazy though. That's my wild story of the night,
dude. That's nuts.
Yeah,
well, I think I got one last one for you if you got the time.
Do it, man.
This is a man. Okay. This guy was married and divorced and hated this woman. Hated this woman with a passion. He had to divorce her, right?
Okay.
Well, so it's his ex-wife, and he's remarried, right? And a 68-year-old man has been arrested for allegedly urinating on his ex-wife's grave. The son of the right, the son of the ex-wife.
Okay. Is it also his son? I'm guessing. Maybe not.
Her family called this disgusting and outrageous. This is a disgraceful to me and my family and embarrassing, said Michael Andrew Murphy, the son of the deceased woman. So it doesn't actually say if it's his child.
Okay. Right on.
So somebody from the cemetery witnessed this man doing it, and they caught him via camera. It had been happening every day since the funeral.
That's insane.
This guy
would, but I gotta respect the commitment. Every day since the
he's
funeral,
committed.
that's commitment. Yeah, I mean, she's dead. What more could peeing on her grave? She doesn't care. She's dead. But my guess is that dude's a Scorpio. I'm gonna guess that. Vindictive.
I'm not
man.
even. They are playing a video. I'm not going to go in respect of the deceased. I'm not going to do that to this here. The man is seen on video and has apparently made a habit of leaving bags of feces at the gravestone.
Oh,
Which the family. This is what the family was weirded out about. That where's this coming from? What's going on?
is this his
Well, they decided
feces
it's
or
yeah. Oh yeah,
dog
his.
or
Oh yeah, no, his.
okay.
His.
All right.
And they
That's
got him on camera,
commitment.
and not just one time and called it good, like a multiple times of him doing this, and just nonchalantly, piss off, woman.
How did you say what he was older? 60 something, right?
He's 68 years old.
Okay, so he's definitely retired then,
Listen,
because I don't see
he was
anybody who has a normal day job.
he was briefly married to this woman, and again, I'm not going to use names. Briefly married to this woman in the 70s. This is how long it's been going on.
Dang, she must have been evil. Either that or this guy's got some. He needs a hug. I can't even fathom. That's nuts, man.
Here's why. The son, it wasn't his son. She got pregnant while they were together. She got pregnant while they were married. DNA test shows it wasn't.
She made him raise it. Oh, she made him raise it. Oh, that sucks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So that's what I got for the end. This happened in New Jersey, by the way, home of the stacking stormtrooper.
Yeah, the dirty Jersey.
Oh man,
makes sense.
I don't know about all that. This could get as we continue moving along with. We really haven't decided what we're gonna do, but this could
We
get
can go
interesting.
anywhere, man. Yeah, we can go anywhere.
This is gonna be fun. I think.
This is great, man.
I think this is gonna be. Where are we at here? Everything's backwards for me.
Oh, you're good, man. I think we're out of time. But yeah, man, this is awesome. We'll pop back on same time next week.
Same time next week.
Right on, brother.
All right, man.
All right, I'll see you.